recently I saw something online about this couple. It was nuts, mate. Let me just get it into context because I'm a bit biased already before even telling you guys. So let me just. So there's this couple now. They've got a child. I think they've got 2 children. And his ex, obviously he has a child with his ex. And obviously there's been a situation now where the child's gone and told, I think his mum, that his dad's current partner has either hit him or he's dropped and she didn't pick him up. But he's basically, I think he even went on to say something like he wants to kill her. Like he was really upset about it. And now the mum's obviously upset, the mum's angry. The dad's current partner is obviously like, so whose side are you on? Are you on your son's side or are you on my side? Personally for me, I'm a mum. And if that happened to my child, you have to believe my child. I don't even care if my child, okay, I do care if they was lying, but then obviously I'd want to, why would someone just wake up and say something like that?
Kids, one thing
like
I do
a kid,
know,
he's under 5.
Kids do lie.
But he's under 5.
Even more reason why I say kids do lie.
Don't you think it stemmed from somewhere?
Again, the second part to what you said was...
Stepmoms are funny, you know.
They are, there's no lies in that. But what you said was he could have dropped, she just didn't pick him up. Maybe she didn't pick him up fast enough, or maybe she didn't react quick enough and he'd already got up and they already have a funny relationship where he already feels some type of way with her. My thing is, I understand the dad's perspective on that, like, it's not that she didn't do that. He's probably just chatting because I get where you're coming from as a mum, like, oh yeah, you feel protective of your child and all of these things, but children are not like adults where they understand the depth of their emotions. So any little thing can be hatred, any little thing can be, I love this person, they're amazing, right? And that also comes in
You don't give me a sweet, you're a witch.
You're a witch, do you know what I'm saying? And that also comes in how they say what they feel about that person. So he could just not fuck with her because that is the person that is with his dad, and mum's not with his dad. Do you get what I'm saying? And he just feels the type of way.
I think it stems from somewhere. Either his mum projects the hate that she has for the stepmom, so he already knows that that's not a good person. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm just trying to think of, like, I've never had a personal experience like that myself, but I've heard of like other people's, or when they go into their dad's house with a new wife, don't eat her food. And then if you imagine you're going there for 8 years and you never eat her food, there's already like a resentment built there. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So, or no matter how young you are, you already know in the back of your mind, my mum doesn't like this woman. So you're naturally not gonna take to her.
To give a little bit more,
do you think it stemmed from something like that?
It could do. To give it a bit more context, right? Because I feel like we can relate it to what, this is the same thing we did the whole G-Herbo situation. And the reason why I mentioned G-Herbo is because the partner's actually cool. Because I remember seeing them at a birthday, I think it was the kid's birthday. Yeah. And they were both there.
Yeah, but
happy,
that doesn't mean we're cool.
I mean, but from what we can see, I'm giving it more context because otherwise we can just do the whole ifs and buts and maybes. Like what we have seen is they're cool in the public eye.
They had
right?
to be in the same room.
Do you know what I'm saying? So, and the mum's comfortable letting her son go to their space.
From very young, before the age of 1. So the new girl's been there since.
My thing is, I'm more likely going to believe my partner. Reason being, the boy is too young.
Yeah.
Right. And I would trust and have faith in the person that I've chosen to be the stepmother to my child.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying to you?
He's not a stranger.
And things like that, I can't lie to you. Things like that, they show themselves over the course of time. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Like, if that woman is a witch, like, there'll be more situations that will come out because she won't be able to hide
There'll be more than one scenario, maybe even.
But to just go off and pick your son's, I'm not gonna lie to you. You find out 6 months down the line or 6 weeks down the line that
if you don't pick your son's side, how do you know the baby mom's not gonna turn around and say you can't see your youth no more, or my youth's not coming to your lot's house no more? You got to do supervised visits with social services or whatever. They can turn around. You know, girls when they're bitter and stuff like that. Like you can just turn around. And I
think there's too much to be lost by believing his child in that situation, and I think the situation isn't too extreme for him to do that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like the boy's been abused. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, where it's like, okay, if I don't believe you, he's going to be traumatized. Like, it's like, okay, cool. Well,
are we having a relaxed stance because it's a stepmom and son? Would we have the same energy if it was a stepdad and daughter?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, if it's in the same context of how the kid's been hit, then I think we would.
Nah, man, that man is getting chastised straight away. Like, he's done. Especially in the court of social justice, social media.
Of course. But in terms of hot desk and our common sense, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about he potentially threw a pillow.
Yeah.
Or a pillow got thrown. So even if
And
you
they could
flip
have even
it,
been pillow fighting.
it could never have been that intense.
And that
There was
deep,
no
yeah.
mark or, do you know what I'm saying?
But she
from what I'm-
said he grazed his knee and he didn't give a.
Okay,
He didn't get a
yeah.
plaster, I think.
I still feel like there's too much to be lost by believing the child, and the child is too young to be believed in that situation. Like it's
I think what
severe,
amplifies
man.
it as well is putting it on social media. That's my issue because once
Who
you
put
know
it on social media?
the baby mum, she put it on social media. She had a recording of him saying.
But then how does
of
Moneybag
her
Yo
questioning.
feel about this? Or they're not together though?
But no, they
Because
are. But
I slightly
but
feel
do you-
like
but
I
do you-
think they've
do
broken
you-
up recently.
No,
Still.
but do you get involved?
Because I think
But
he would've done a
do
Will
you
Smith.
get involved? Did you start speaking on your Mrs. relationship with her child and her ex-partner, who's the father of the child? I think as a man,
You
sometimes
kinda
you have to
step
be
back
like,
sometimes.
that's their business.
I'm gonna do a Lani here and say, like, from what I've been seeing, because I follow all of them, yeah, especially those 4 people. Obviously the beanies are they're buff, so I follow them, and Moneybag Yo, I fuck with them. G-Herbo, my guy, like, you know what I'm saying? I slightly feel they've broken up, Moneybag Yo and Ari.
Yeah,
And
I
if they've
think I
broken
saw
up,
that
she's not in a good place. You feel me? Mentally.
she's got no
So,
defense, no one in
right
the
now
corner.
she's aggy in it. You know what I'm saying? Just me, just.
And your thing's still going well.
Do you know what I'm
You
saying?
gave her a
that's
ring
what
as
I'm
well.
Me just putting my little spin on it.
Yeah, well, you gave her a ring as well,
Is this
yeah?
around the same timing that this all got exposed around the breakup? Is this recently?
I'm saying recently, from what I've been seeing,
Okay.
I don't think.
Well,
they're
the
together.
thing with the son was like the last couple of days.
Okay, so then
That's what I'm
it's
saying.
very
I bet
recent
you
then.
any money
It's
she
all
was
recent.
loved up in her with her Birkins.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not even put that out there.
And this is the thing. Maybe she's in a bitter place right now. So obviously, whatever my son's saying, she's on it.
I think it's really difficult to just
Obviously, we can't judge, innit?
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
just
I'm just
speculating here.
I
but-
agree with you, Lucas, about like obviously it's difficult to trust a child because children lie. But you know, have you ever seen adults, like grown adults, who say like one of their biggest traumas is the fact that when they went to their parents,
believed them.
they didn't believe them.
Yeah.
So it's like I think it's a very sticky situation to be in.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know if I was a parent, and this is kind of
right.
like low key my worst nightmare. I'm not gonna lie. Because I don't want to have my child have trauma, but then it's like, are you fibbing?
Yeah.
Like, is this or are you exaggerating?
But it has
What
to
does
be
that
also-
even do to a child at that age if they're already told we don't believe you?
Yeah.
Like, imagine what it does to them.
He'll be alright.
Nah.
No, but they made
You tough, right?
They're never like, all right.
I think it's how it.
No, they'll be alright. Trust me. Especially if he was chatting shit, you be fine.
But what if? What
You'll
if?
be
But what
fine.
if he wasn't?
Takes one to know one. And
And
like,
and
What if he wasn't? What if he wasn't? What if he wasn't?
Lucas like, he'll be fine.
If he wasn't?
honestly, I need to know what damages was
what's
to
the
the child. Like,
accusation
what happened
here?
to the kid? Like, is he bruised?
Yeah, if it was
Is
just a little
like-
pillow.
Because
yeah.
even if it's a little, do you know what I'm saying? And the mum didn't like that, tough. Like, obviously, like, that's my stepkid. Maybe he was acting up, man.
Yeah, and some
Do you
kids
know
are
what I'm saying?
rude, especially when
Do
they're
you know what I'm saying?
parent.
So,
Kids will be mad
I
when
still
you
stand
have
by
the money,
it. Listen, you be alright. And over the course of time, if she's
Even if
really
she- even if
wicked,
she did do it.
then naturally I'm going to take your side.
Okay, cool.
Because remember, everything falls back to love, and naturally you want to protect your child. So I'm not just going to naturally assume. I've never seen these characteristics from this woman of being a witch. And my kid
Yeah,
all of
I
a sudden
haven't
says
seen
she's
it
a
either.
witch. So now, okay, you're a witch.
Oh my God.
And then my pregnant wife, kid that I've already got, thrown out the way
you know
because
what?
kid said that
Do you know
she's a
what's,
witch.
it's not related, but have you seen that couple? This is recently. That couple, the woman and the guy, he was a stepdad, and they used to like, she put like a camera or recordings in the house, and then the little boy, she found out if he was cheating, and then she found out that he was abusing the son, and then he died. That isn't that mad?
Who died?
And
Who
he was
died?
like 4 or 3. You
The
know,
son
this
died.
is on Shade Borough and everywhere.
No,
This is like big news. This is recently, like a week ago. You lot.
A black woman.
It's a woman and a guy.
Didn't they both
and were
get?
arrested.
Didn't they both get arrested?
She got arrested too. Yes.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. They were both black.
Maybe
innit?
for her, I think she got less because hers was negligent.
Oh,
They were both black.
is this the guy that they killed in prison?
What? Is this recently?
There was some guy that I remember seeing on the socials that
Recently?
they poked up. Yeah,
Nah.
recently they poked up. They killed him in prison.
Wow, was it child related?
I think he was a child something, and then they grabbed him and they killed him in
I don't know
prison.
the two stories,
But I'm just saying that that's a stepdad. I have no idea if it's the same guy. But that's a stepdad. This is mad recently. This is like 2 weeks ago. But yeah.
Yeah,
he got
I mean, it's
convicted.
a tricky one, isn't it? Because it's like, as a parent, and I'm not one, so maybe I'm not.
I'm about to say
qualified
congratulations,
speak.
boy. Fair down, since when?
I'm not. Maybe I'm not qualified to speak on it like that. But I feel like, one, I've worked with kids, and I love children. Do you know what I'm saying? I've got children as well, so I just naturally feel like you sense these things. Like if you genuinely have brought someone into this world with love, like you just naturally are innate. You feel these things, and if my child comes up to you, will see in your kid's eyes, mummy or stepmommy slaps me. you know whether it's okay, what did you do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or it's
That's what I was like,
why?
everything stems from
You know what I'm
somewhere.
saying? It all, there has to be there's a lot of context behind it.
stems from
and
somewhere, like-
I think the parent, if for the dad to say, and the way from just what I see of G-Herbo and how I'm into, he's the G-Herbo, the musician, and how he stands by his music and the businessman and all that kind of stuff, he seems like he's a thorough dude. So if he's saying that, nah, Donnie's, forget it, man, then I'm assuming he knows that, okay, maybe he's just taking
He's
it too
got to
far
the
and he's
bottom
told
of it,
mum
he's
too
figured
much
it out.
because of how he feels. And kids getting their feelings when other kids start coming to the picture. He's got 3 kids all of a sudden now.
No, yeah.
Maybe he's a little bit of jail. Shit happens.
And just in general, like, it's just so funny, it relates to another rapper, like Lil Durk's got obviously OTF, and one of his artists, Doody Low, his ex-girlfriend basically accused him of basically sexually abusing her son, like putting doing something bad.
Nastiness.
And so obviously it blew up on social media and stuff, and then he did a lie detector test, she did a lie detector test, police got involved, but she was adamant, this guy basically, pretty much mutilated her son, like put something in his bum or something crazy. There's an audio recording of the son saying he did that, and then it got dropped, and then she apologized and and so it's. But what's mad is that when something like that comes to social media, that's because I don't have a child, I don't really have any foot to stand on or opinion. It's more so like when you bring it to the court of social media, you're basically trying to get everyone on your side. But why? Because it's your household. You know what I mean? So when you now say someone has done something, especially, when men are accused of certain things, especially with women, I don't know, like it kind of gets brushed over. But when men are accused of certain things, it kind of it doesn't matter if it's not true no more.
If it was a stepdad that had hit the stepdaughter, it would have been so different. Even as a dad, defending the situation would have gone in there guns blazing. With so much anger and rage, it wouldn't have been you can only imagine.
You know, I've got a funny story for you, and it's totally unrelated. So, like, basically, there was one young girl in my area recently, acting up. He's like 11-year-old, and I basically saw him on the block. I was like, yo, like, pattern up, like, what you doing? Like, he's just acting up. He's doing something serious, trying to break a branch off a tree, and I was like, come on, like, chill out. And 2 like African aunties have told him, and he's like, oh, I don't speak English. Like, he's mocking them, innit? So I'm like, bro, like, what you doing? Like, pattern up, You don't know me, don't chat to me, So I was like, come on, bro, like, Long story short, I said, he's mimicking. I was like, don't do that, that's bitchy. He was like, you're a bitch. So 11-year-old.
Wow.
I was like,
if I grab you.
He was in the playground, I said, I'm going to come around there, I want you to say that to my face. You can't do nothing to me.
Oh, he knows his rights, boy.
He goes, you're a bitch.
You must have been. Oi.
So my head was in 2 places. I was thinking, either you ain't got no dad, like you're just gone, like you're gone mute, like, because I'm just like, there's no way a youth would talk to an adult like that. Yeah, I'm like, you're gone. So I was gonna be like, you know what, cool, you got this, bro. Like, I can tell you're wrapped, you're tapped. But anyway, he's like, you can't touch me anyway. You're not gonna touch me. I was like, you're right. I'm not gonna touch you because I could get arrested. Long story short, it kind of peppered down and have a conversation with him. I'm just like, bro, you seem like a smart kid. I'm just telling you to like be cautious, mindful of what you're doing. Because earlier I've heard this youth swearing from a window, "Where's my fucking money?" I'm like, yo, this is a little boy. What are you doing? Like, so anyway, long story short, I've gone inside my house. 20 minutes later, open the door.
He's dead.
But from the time I heard goom, 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 I knew what time it was. Like, cool. So I've opened the door. Black brother, you know what I'm saying? Man them. What's all this? The youth is there, the daddy see, I'm like, I'm gonna get rushed by an 11-year-old in the 30s. I'm like, what's going on? But I totally understood. Because the youth has gone home, and I'm like, I told him, before I looked at the youth, I said, you didn't tell your dad the full story, innit? But thank God I even had the opportunity to say something. Because Pops has come in, like,
raging.
What? My son has told me that you're a grown man, you was in his face, So I totally understand, but luckily, my man had enough, and I had to ask him, like, are you gonna let me speak? Because he was going off. And when he eventually gave me the opportunity to speak and I explained the situation, he was like, he didn't know that his son called me a bitch. Because after that, when I was like, bro, he called me a bitch, bro. He was like, he told his son, he stopped talking to me now. He said, if that was me, I would have fucked you up, I would have licked you down. So that's what I'm saying, it's hard to like kind of know what side to take because children are gonna admit it in their favor.
And they're cheeky.
Yeah.
They're cheeky.
Why did he even tell the dad that story though?
Because basically he was in the playground with his friends. So obviously he got shook when I stuck it on him. And then basically he now went and told his dad, someone like threatened me.
They do that.
But I was like,
you called him a bitch.
But you didn't tell your dad after that we had a normal conversation. I told you like you seem like a smart kid. We left on levels. So you wouldn't even expect a dad to come and bang your door, bro. So when his dad came, I was like, your son didn't tell you the story. He told you what was favorable to him. He didn't tell you his dad's Nigerian. So when I told the dad about him mocking the African aunties,
His dad was
and then he
thinking
called me a bitch, his dad was like, as in my son.
See?
He's like, no. And a lot of parents don't know what their kids are on. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, yeah, bro. So now I'm the kids.
I'm that
like
parent.
Yeah.
Last year, my son went to a party of like one of my childhood friends, but she's got a kid the same age. I didn't actually go. I just let him. One of my cousins drop him there. They're from Peckham. I don't know who I was telling earlier. I've told someone about Peckham when he was talking about it. So, and my son has this thing about, oh, mum, is Peckham really bad? Like he'll ask me all these questions and stories. So I've let him go to this kids' party in Peckham now. This boy has come back proper upset, like traumatized. Like when he's walked in the door, I could just see his face. Like, I'm like, Aman, what happened? What happened? Mum, there was some big man and he just punched me up. He just punched me up for no reason. He was just punching me up. Huh? My son, not me. I was ringing everybody. Why? Who hit Aman? Who hit Aman? I'm raging, like screaming, literally, because you just the instant reaction in it. I'm just upset, seeing my son upset. I later on found out. Not only it was one of my old school friends, like this person is like one of my cousins who died's proper childhood friends, like best friends. Like he knows me in and out. So he knows my son, but my son doesn't know him. So my son's like, I don't know what the conversation was. My son's going, yeah, look at your fake watch. How are you going to tell a big man in front of a bare other man that his watch is fake? Even if it was or it wasn't. So I think he started off as play fighting. Remember, my son's quite solid in it. So I think he just tucked him in a little harder. Because he even admitted to it. So I was like, what really happened? He was like, bruv, your son's rude, you know. I was like, what happened? He was like, yeah, he was just telling me, your watch is fake, your chain's fake, this, that. Like, my son was getting onto it. I didn't even know that side of my son. So when you're saying what you're saying about that was me, I was in shock. So, and at first, he was denying it. I was sticking on him. Aman, did you say that? In the end, I said, when you say things like that to big grown men, you do deserve a little hit. Because you can't go around saying that.
But did he punch him up?
No, he didn't. There was witnesses that said it was just literally, Aman's one of them spoiled kids. So anything, just anything out of his control, I think he just felt like maybe embarrassed by the other kids or whatever. And he just...
And then that basically links it back to this kid, like your son. You know, it's like some kids are just spoiled, bro.
You can't go provoking adults as well sometimes. You need to know your position.
But it's a sticky one for like adults, like in general, like even outside of like your partner, because even like I said, even my scenario is like, what is the level of? I feel sorry for teachers, because what is the level? What can you do really? You can't go around smacking people's kids. What can you actually do to discipline or correct someone's behavior without being wrong? Because all that, oh no, you don't do that, that's naughty, that doesn't work. So like, what as a parent, you're a parent, so what could you suggest that someone who's not a parent do if they just want to be like, hey, correct a situation?
I know one way. And that's fear.
Yeah.
Like, see, when you was like instilling fear in that 11-year-old, I will instill fear.
The boy was not scared, bro.
I actually, that's because even my son, I've never hit him.
Yeah.
I just talk, the tone changes, the way I look at you, you just know, like, it's that time.
I was gonna take it. We started on that way earlier, but we didn't really go deep with it. The flip side to it, which is like the trust and the natural trust that parents have, and how nowadays, especially, that is questioned a lot. And maybe rightly so, because a lot of fuckery situations have happened where just because you're the parent to that child doesn't mean you've taken care of that child or you've put that child's needs first. Yeah. Like, children do get abused. Children do go through situations where they do speak out and they're like, oh, this is happening to me. And they don't get believed. And that's where you were saying, like, they get traumatized. It's like, it's a very hard situation to be in. Do you know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, we like we've touched on this, you kind of naturally get a sense of certain things, right? But those people that are not connected or not tapped in with their kids, or they're disconnected or whatever, for whatever reason, or their kids are going through trauma and abuses, like, and their kids come and tell them stuff, it's like, I can't even imagine how that child develops. Do you get what I'm saying? I mean, I can only speak for myself in my own experiences and that, like, I don't know. I've never. I feel like for me anyway. Like I've always like tried to, with. I'm not gonna go into things, but with whatever trauma that I've had as a child, because I've lived in Niger as a kid. I've had so many different experiences.
Sorry,
right?
Did your parents always believe you, even when you was lying? No, I just wanted to just ask.
Yeah. But there's also a flip side to it where I think if you're a very in touch with life kind of child that understands what's going on around you and you read situations really well, sometimes you don't even, and not even so much that as well. Some kids are not brave, not even so, they don't have it in them to speak out. They're not comfortable enough saying stuff, right? I think you kind of just learn to not say anything. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you kind of just try and just deal with it your own way. And even as you grow older from these experiences, when you do say certain things and your parents are listening to you and they're speaking about these things, there's almost like, I don't know, maybe I'll break it down this way, right? So we've said it many times on the shows, right? When African parents and African families, when you go back home and you spend time in Nigeria and a house girl might sleep with you or you might sleep with a house girl, like these different experiences that kids, we've touched on it.
What the hell?
My point
You
is,
touched on it. Who did you touch on, bro?
Speak for yourself.
Hey!
we've spoken about it on the show quite a few times.
Get some real help in that house, boy.
No, we've spoken about it a few times on this show, back chat, where there's, especially back home, like I believe anyway, that there's people there's kids that go through situations where they're actually being abused, right? And they even know to the point where it's just, especially I'll say for boys, especially, right? Like because it's a woman that's doing it.
It's
like,
calm.
It's calm, right? And it's almost like a badge of honor to an extent, where you tell yourself. And even when you go through these processes, right, you kind of say like, well, even if you speak about it, what does it do? Do you get what I'm saying? So I feel like it's hard for children in an environment where these things aren't really, well, for boys anyway, and what I'm talking about specifically, like these things aren't really allowed, men aren't really allowed to open up and express these things.
Basically be
and
vulnerable
believe.
about certain things.
Yeah,
And
you know what I'm
unless
saying
it's
to you?
like you've been abused by a man. That's
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
it's taken serious.
yeah, you're helping me out, guys. Thank you very much. Like, do you get what I'm saying to you? Like, I feel like
When it's a woman, it's like, you
When-
enjoyed it, or it's not that
it's
deep.
like, yeah, or it's not that deep, or it's like, oh, well, you even, because of how society is, patriarchy or whatever, you kind of say, well, you're a boy anyway.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Or
Do you
even
get what
them
I'm saying?
circumstances, like, or even, but to be fair, on the flip side, you hear times when girls express like stories about experiencing abuse growing up and not being believed
Oh, it's so
by
painful.
their mother,
Yeah.
and it's the mother's partner.
I know someone like that, and the way they hate their parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was
adults,
gonna say.
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
hates.
I've met two
She
girls
couldn't
like
give
that
a
who,
flying-
No, I think it goes.
and it
deep
really
because-
stays with them because
Yeah, it's
it
sad.
really
does
stays
stay
with
with
them.
them. That's why you can't just. Obviously, I'm not saying you was, but that's why you have to take a while.
Yeah,
to,
you
to
can't just-
investigate.
Yes, that's-
to see who you really think is telling the truth.
And even if I didn't believe my child, I
but
don't
that-
think I
but
would make
tell
them
him-
know
you won't
that
tell him
I
objectively you don't
you
believe
to your
him.
face, or make you feel like I actually don't believe you.
And-
I wouldn't
and-
do
So
that.
essentially, how you handle, how you handle saying no, even if it's a no that you're gonna say, is crucial because, like, you're as a parent, you're in a position of trust, and trust is easily broken. So, and I think when the child comes to you with things like, this has happened to me, do you get what I'm saying to you? Regardless of if you believe that child or not,
You got to handle with care.
you've got, it's delicate. Do you get what I'm saying? Because you have a duty of care.
And that's why when you said, like he'll be all right, I agree, but it depends on how you tell him. If you say, you're lying, that didn't happen to you, then, cool, at 4 or 5 years old, they might not remember, but then you don't know what seed has been planted. So I don't want to talk like I know, I just believe that if you handled it delicately, like, I'm going to have a talk to auntie and see what's going on over there. I'm letting you know I'm handling this.
Yeah.
I spoke to auntie, don't worry, she's not going to do it again. But if she does do it again, make sure you come and tell me. It's like, make sure you come and tell me. Like, on a flip side, which is not as deep, I just remember, like, in terms of telling parents stuff and they don't come back to you, I just remember, like, when I stopped telling my parents stuff, was more so that if I opened up to them, there's a time when it was calm and it's all good and you could confide in them and tell them stuff, but later it'll be weaponized against you. So if let's say you told mum you want to be a professional footballer, she's like, she's in a good mood, so, I'll buy you some boots, we can go down for trials. But then one day you didn't wash the dishes, look at you, stupid boy. You want to play football, you're miss. So it's like, so if I don't tell you nothing, you can't use it against me. And I think
I was gonna ask you guys, what about perception? Because I feel also, experiences, something can happen to two people, and the way I perceive it is completely different to the way you perceive it. Obviously, depending on maybe your upbringing, your threshold of trauma, pain. So, for instance, also for the woman, the mother in this, the stepmom, maybe I'm not saying she did, but let's just say she did something, and to her it's not that deep. But maybe for the little boy, for real, his perception, it is really that deep. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, of course.
Like, because the reason I say this is because I've spoken about my little sister before. My little sister is extremely sensitive, and one of the things she's this is gonna sound nuts, but one of the things she's traumatized by is Twitter. This is so weird, but we talk about this all the time at home. I have to give her frigging lectures on Twitter because she saw them tweets about when black men used to call black women ugly, and she's 25 now, but she always randomly brings this up on Twitter. Black men used to always say we're ugly, like black men don't like us, and I think, rah, Twitter really traumatized you. So sometimes I think like, it might not be that deep when the person's telling you like, what are you talking about? It's fine, you're being dramatic. But some people, they're really, to that person, it's really deep. Like, so then that's what I'm trying to say. So then when you tell your son, come on, get over it. It's not that deep. Then they go and they're crying like, oh my mom.
It's deep
And
to
then
me.
they don't even show you now when things are deep. They all just find a way to sort it out themselves.
Yeah. You're dismissing
That's
them.
the last thing, and you don't want to do that.
I think essentially it's touchy, man, because it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. To some extent, do you know what I'm saying? Because you take the side of a kid and then you lose, you know what I'm saying? And then you don't take the side of your kid, then you potentially lose your actual kid. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he might just grow up now thinking, you know what, dad's a punk, like he's always gonna
dad's
take
a punk.
F
My two brothers,
any beanie that he's with side or
little wedge.
you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, that's his family now. Like that's
F my brothers. Like he's gonna grow up thinking F my brothers.
No, it's techie still.
I think the bigger for me, I always think the adult should be the bigger person, and I think I feel like the stepmom, even if she didn't do anything wrong, she should just fall back. I
do
you
would.
agree?
Yeah. It's a very sensitive
How
one,
does
man. She used to put herself in them shoes. Like if she was the other baby mom and this happened to one of her
What do you mean she
kids.
should fall back? What does that mean?
Just don't stick it on her man
blame,
too much. Don't try and make
pillow
your man
fight.
feel like, oh, you're picking your kid and you're not picking me. Just let it all explain itself. Like let it hash out.
For a while, no pillow fighting. Maybe no. For now, no.
Or it just
isn't that-
extends. Just maybe every time the kid is there, like I would make sure I'm smothering the kid in like extra
Make
love,
it
trying to
obvious that
compensate.
you're trying to
I'll compensate for.
But isn't that like okay, so just more. I remember someone saying, "Oh, Ari, I really did it." She was even saying something like, "Oh, basically, she tried to say like, Herb, like, why are you even talking on the situation? Because when my baby's there, you're never there anyway. He's always with Tyna." So she basically was saying, my son is pretty much always in stepmom's care.
Yeah, and you're comfortable.
Yeah,
with that.
and so she's basically, of course, you're gonna back her. You're never there. Like basically, she's your babysitter. She even referred to her as my son's always with the babysitter, being the new partner. So it's like, you know, when you say she should fall back, how does one fall back in that situation?
I just meant fall back
With
as
the
in
discipline.
don't give my man like
Yeah.
that pressure and
Yeah,
make
to
him feel
handle it,
like
yeah.
he's got to pick. I'll just like try and
I'm
find a
slightly
way.
with Lani on that
Yeah.
one too. Like fall
Be
back
the
from the
person.
kid as well.
Yeah.
And just
like,
investigate.
It's like almost like be very professional with it. Like listen, I
You
don't
know
want
what,
you to get me in trouble.
Adults can
You know
deal
what I'm
with
saying,
this. Like
Yeah.
we can communicate. Like
It's not
we
worth
can.
it.
A
It's not worth the
child,
hassle. It's not worth our family
It's not
neither.
worth it.
a child can't actually communicate
Yeah, it's
to
not
that
worth
level.
it.
Whereas an adult, you can let things wait and hash out, and let things explain itself with time. But I just feel like
Feed
it's
yourself, little nigga.
I would always like whether the kid's lying. Just they're really sensitive people, man. Like
In a nutshell, be sensitive with how you break it. Either way, if you're going to let down your child, do it in a gentle way so they're not traumatized for the rest of their life, knowing that their dad or mom didn't have their back. And if you're, in a relationship with your partner, make sure that your partner feels secure and good, enough to be able to reconcile when your child's old enough and mature enough to be able to deal with things. If that is the case, and if it's not, then
Agreed.
yeah. And if you're ever my son's stepmom, please, even if you don't like us, just pretend. Because it is really gonna go down. Like I don't care. Like you better make my son happy, yeah. You better make my child happy. He better come back saying, yeah, she's lovely. I don't want to hear no story. I don't want to hear my egg was burnt. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear nothing.